Well, Peter Mildenhall here. I'm one of the lieutenants in the Christmas Hills Fire Brigade. Liz and I have lived in the Bend now for 25 years. I joined the brigade soon after I arrived here. A couple of locals convinced me to do so. I'd spent a couple of years at Flowerdale, so I had a bit of experience with the CFA and got involved in the Christmas Hills Brigade. It's an interesting brigade because we've got two stations. We've got this one that we're in at the moment, the South Station, which is down in the Bend of Islands. We've got our second station, the North Station, up in Christmas Hills proper, up in the bush, more the bushy bush area up towards Yarra Glen. So it's pretty unique in that way, this brigade. It's been a terrific group. As you see from our logo, red truck, green heart. So it's got a conservation end to the fire brigade. So it's a brigade that's always been conscious of our place in the environment. And so we're probably not as gung-ho as a lot of other brigades, but I guess this year has heightened awareness for us as a brigade and for the local community, just how important we are as a brigade to this community and how important the CFA has been to the Victorian community. Yeah. So we had a recent meeting, I guess, as a brigade, out of the ordinary, because we were really concerned about three major issues that we as a brigade are facing. And Mike, as I said at this recent presentation where we had 70 people here last Wednesday, the three things that are really, really facing us at the moment are, the first thing was, some of our brigade vehicles have been taken. As many people are aware, we've got big fires in East Gippsland up in the northeast. So our other tanker 1 and our little ultralight have gone to the northeast, and they've been taken by the CFA to help other brigades fight the current fires. And the CFA's philosophy, if you like, is fight the fire that you've got, and that's the fire we've got. So for people who are driving around here in mid-January, see St Andrews tanker down at Eltham tankers down at Can River, Kangaroo Grounds tanker was burnt over at Mallacoota and is out of action. Hurstbridge tankers down at Can River. So there's tankers all over the place. So the first issue for us is we're down to one tanker and our quick fill to cover the two stations. So our capacity to respond quickly is still there, but we've got diminished capacity. Other brigades will come in, like Panton Hill and St Andrews, etc., but they've got some diminished capacity too. So that was the first issue, diminished capacity. I guess the second issue we talked about was how bad the fires have been. So we're seeing unprecedented, serious, catastrophic fire behaviour. The bush is very dry. East Gippsland and the northeast have been in drought conditions for years now, very dry for the last couple of years. These fires have been predicted. They've broken out. The bush is burning and it's unlikely to stop. We've still got fires going in the bush, and we as a brigade are really worried about the outskirts of Melbourne, the Dandenongs, the Nillumbik area. We had a serious fire in Plenty Gorge a couple of weeks ago. Our brigade was part of the group to try and suppress that. Serious fire in Sunbury. So we think in the next 6 or 8 weeks, we're going to have and face serious fire danger in the outskirts of Melbourne. And so we wanted to alert the community to how tricky it is. Nillumbik's fire drought index is very difficult. It's been as high as it's ever been this time of the year. We've had the driest December on record in Melbourne. And even though we've had a bit of recent rain, the bush is still very dry. And I get the third thing, Michael, that really struck us was a couple of weeks ago on, I think it was Monday the 30th, we've had some bad days, and that day was very bad. That was the day that the fires broke out really in East Gippsland. And we have a brigade standing order here. When the fire danger index at Coldstream, and you can see that on the BOM site, the Bureau of Meteorology site, when that reaches 50, we come up and and stand here at the station, because that means it's hit severe, the fire danger. It gives us the capacity to turn out very quickly from the brigade if something happens. So our standing order says 50, we come and stay here, and the same with crew at the North Station. But when it reaches 75, which is when it reaches extreme on the fire danger index, then we have a brigade standing order that we as a brigade leave the South Station, because we believe this South Station is indefensible at 75. And we go up to the North Station and stand to at the North Station. And so we were doing that on this, I think it was the Sunday afternoon or the Monday afternoon it was. And as we drove out along Henley Road to go to the North Station, the crew noticed there was at least 6 cars driving in at 3:30 in the afternoon. And I guess it was a danger sign for us that there was people driving back in to the bend on a day that was extremely dangerous, where flame heights, if it's going, it's a crown fire when it gets to extreme, gets up into the bush, 80 metre zone around to be safe from flames at that fire danger. Houses, people, cars are indefensible, and that's one of the reasons we are not here. This building is indefensible, so we go up to the North Station. And I guess we wanted to give warning to people to say, the brigade's not here. It's a very, very dangerous fire season, and we still had people in the bend driving back into the bend. And as you and I know, there's only 2 ways out of here, really. There's Henley Road and the Skyline Road. Henley Road's likely to be impacted if the fire comes from the north or the northwest. That's where it's going to come from. Skyline Road is right up on the crest, very dangerous. Trees fall on Skyline all the time. Can't get out that way. And so people are going to be trapped in here. And the brigade and other brigades would find it very difficult to get in here on such a serious day. So that was the catalyst for the meeting, those 3 issues. Diminished resources, very high fire danger, and the difficulties in helping people in here in the bend when the fire danger gets so high. Yeah, so we wanted to get that message across. And I think the 70 people who were there heard the message. Hopefully people who might be watching this on the Vicar website or something might also get the message and have a think about their plan, their fire plan. What is their trigger for leaving? The group down at the I'm part of, the Fire Guard group in the Lower Catani end, they mostly leave a total fire ban when a total fire ban's called, and that's around 40. Something F fire danger index of about 40 is generally total fire ban, and so we all leave. A couple of people stay in Lower Catani have got bunkers, and they stay because they're going to stay in the bunkers, but their families leave. Other people I know don't leave until the fire danger index gets to extreme, gets to very high, the end of very high, which is around 50. Well, that's their decision. And we've got some capacity to help in that regard. But once it gets to 75, I think it's a new ball game. So we really encourage people to have a plan, have a trigger for when they leave, know what they're going to take when they go, where they're going to go, and importantly, when they're going to come back. And, one of the messages that came out of Wednesday was people often come back a bit early. They hear about the wind change. They come back in when the southwesterly gets cool in Melbourne. We know the Bend of Islands is usually about an hour after Melbourne, so it's still hot when Melbourne's cooled down. The southwesterly change comes in, and it can bring a bad fire with it from the Warrandyte end as well. So I think if you're going to drive back in on that night after a cool change, you need to be absolutely sure that there's no fires around and that it has cooled down and it's safe to come back. On Black Saturday, for instance, the cool change came through. We were up on Christmas Hills North there, and the catastrophic cool change came through from the southwest and blew the fire down to Yarra Glen and Steeles Creek and Dixon's Creek and killed scores of people again. So even though the cool change can bring some welcome rain and a drop in temperature, it does cause its own problems. So please be careful and make sure you know that it's safe to return. And I guess the other thing that we talked briefly about was the Vic Emergency app and having apps or listening out to make sure that you know what's going on. The Vic Emergency app's really good. That'll pick up alerts that we as a brigade get, and they go straight up, and you know there's a fire or there's an alarm going or something's going on in the local area. I set my alarm area or my warning area to the 10 k's to the north of here. So it picks up Panton Hill and St Andrews. So I know if a fire breaks out there, I get a ping on the WhatsApp, on the mobile phone. Listen to the ABC radio, they're fairly quick now. Our job as a brigade, if there is a local fire, is to get a watch and act out or something like that if it breaks out. So it's really important you stay alert, have the radio on. I think one of the problems on Black Saturday, and I think we've learned from that, is people shut up their house, put the air conditioning on, watch the telly, and try and block out all the heat. You really got to be out, sniffing the air, feeling the crunch in the leaves, feeling for dangers, and keeping an eye out for what's going on in your environment. And I guess that's one thing that we're passionate about is, beside listening out for the electronic sort of signals, having a look around, smoke in the air, the crunch in the grass, strengthening northerly wind. Am I safe to be here? If you don't feel safe, and it might only be a high fire danger day, then you're better off leaving unless you feel really comfortable about your capacity to save your house or live in your house. So there's some of the key messages. Watch for warning signs, listen for warning signs, have a plan, stick to it, don't come back until it's safe. And hopefully we'll have a damp end of the summer, and this will all be for naught, and we'll be happy as Larry again. But, it is a really dangerous February coming up. February was when we had Black Saturday, Ash Wednesday. Late January was Black Friday in 1939. They're our very, very worst time in February. So let's hope we get through it in a safe and sound manner.